Hello everyone, we are back with another exciting episode of Tech Mahindra's The Simplicity series. I'm Rajesh Chandiramani, Tech Mahindra's Business Unit Head for the EMEA and APJI regions. And like I said before, it has been a true privilege to work with and learn from all the telecom leaders in all these regions. It's a delight to be here again. Since you last saw us, our promise of simplicity has only grown stronger. In the previous episodes of the Simplicity series, we had many thought-provoking discussions while exploring various facets of simplicity. We have had the pleasure of hosting a lot of dynamic industry leaders on the series. And today, it brings me immense joy to be hosting Mallik Rao, the Chief Technology and Information Officer of Telefonica Deutschland. Mallik is a true telco expert, an industry leader par excellence, having more than 25 years of experience in the international telecommunication industry, where he has led teams in technology, solutions, and product management, to name a few. Mallik has helped the telco industry evolve over the years through trends and advances in tech like cloudification, 5G, fiber growth, etc. He has been at the center of programs that have helped in transforming telcos for better modernization beyond traditional avenues. Mallik has helped entire organizations to better simplify and modernize themselves. Today, in conversation with Mallik, we hope to learn from his past experiences and successes and the role that simplicity played. With Mallik is my mentor and advisor, a true thoroughbred telecommunication and technology industry professional who has been within this space for more than 3 decades now, a keen embracer and propagator of our simplicity proposition, Manish Vyas, the President, CME, and CEO of Network Services. I now present to you Mallik Rao and Manish Vyas.
Thank you, Rajesh. That was a wonderful introduction of indeed a very wonderful man. I am truly blessed today to be sitting here with Mallik. You know, while we are shooting and talking about simplicity, this episode should be called the energy episode, because Mallik, you indeed are an energy bunny. I've never seen a tired moment around you. You're busy as hell, whether you are taking cost out of business, whether you're building the network, whether you're building the transformation, whether you're thinking about product, whether you're thinking about revenue, whether you're working with people all the time. I one day would love to understand the energy and what exactly is that pill that you take to get you that energy. But I must say thank you so much for joining. It means a lot to me. It means a lot to Tech Mahindra. It means a lot to all the Tech Mahindra associates. But most importantly, and I'm sure once the episode is played in the public domain, it will mean a lot to every single audience that will listen to this, this episode. We are talking about simplicity. And I must say, I haven't known too many people who practice simplicity at the core than you. Where do you drive and derive your simplicity mantra from? If that can be my first question, please.
First of all, Manish, thanks for getting me here, and pleasure again meeting you, right? And for me, simplicity comes from the culture, right? Where you grow up as a child. When I grew up in a village, I grew up in a large family. Life is extremely simple. And if I reflect back last 2 years of pandemic, what a human being needs and what human being wants, right? It just says everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Needs are very, very limited, but desires or wants are limitless.
That's right.
And at the same time, the ambitions make the society better.
Yeah.
So that's the balance of that's what I learned from.
No, absolutely. And we have seen you, the time that you spend on the farmlands, actually cultivating crop even today. I think it's because you are always so deeply rooted to where you come from.
Absolutely. I have the passion of the agriculture, at least. That's came in the last 15 years. So it's
That's
nice.
amazing. I think it's really, truly inspirational. I mean, when we speak to people about what you do in your spare time, I mean, it's almost as if you want to go back and live your life, but I'm sure it's not easy. Look, I think let's dive into this topic of simplification. You are an industry leader leading such a mammoth task of driving change and transformation in the telecom industry, particularly in a very developed, very mature market like Germany. Why does this industry, why does telecom industry has a strong need to simplify?
Yeah, I think there are few things. Number one, customer need. Customer need for the last 50 years is extremely simple. From a telecom service provider, the expectation of the customers has not significantly changed. They just want to be connected wherever they want to be. They just want to make phone call wherever they want to be. They just want to browse the data, have a video call, whether it's high definition, standard definition, they just want to consume.
Yeah.
It's extremely simple. However, as the technology evolves, and we have a significant, as an industry, a significant technical debt. Because you have 1G, 2G, 3G, 4G, when you count any number of Gs, you will have to deliver.
Yeah.
And there at the same time, because of the nature of business what we are in, you serve different segments of the customers. On one side, you have a 80, 90-year-old man or woman who wants to just make a call to the grandchildren, right? On the other side, you have a spectrum of people like us who wants to consume high-definition video, Netflix on the go.
All the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
And you have the businesses who wants to evolve, who wants to really simplify their business. If they want to simplify the business, they will rely on people like us who are connecting to ends of the world.
Yeah.
So business on one side is simple, right? The customer needs are simple, but it is extremely demanding. And we have a significant technical debt, and we are in a perennial modernization of technologies. And because we are builders, we forget about decommissioning the legacy. So we keep on accumulating. So that's a big challenge as an industry which we have.
Very interesting part. So what you're saying is that while as an industry we know how to build the future and we keep building it, 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G, fiber, broadband, fixed wireless, and yet we forget sometimes or make it difficult to retire the old.
Absolutely, because we are in love with technology. We are loving technology. We have people who spend significant amount of time in technology or the business, right? For example, when on one side you have technology, love it technology, you keep accumulating a lot of things. On the other side, you have marketing or the teams who have been customizing the service for the customer, and you keep on adding tariff plans.
Yeah.
You touch any point of time you look at your own tariff plans. No customer understands, but at the same time, you have at least 15, 20,000 tariff plans in every telecom operators. So that's the challenge.
Does this stem from, long ago I used to live in Singapore and I learned a word there called kiasu, which I think in the English world probably is called FOMO.
Yeah.
Is that fear of missing out what keeps us keep adding and not deleting anything?
Absolutely. On one side, it's fear of missing, but on the other side, it's the compulsion because you want to serve everybody and you just don't want to go and communicate to the customer, the end user, that there is a change which is needed. We need to take the end user in a journey of change.
Interesting.
So we try to change, but we somehow have a disconnect between end user and what the internal world of telecom.
And hence, as a result, not just do we have a big technical debt, but we also have escalated cost of operations.
Absolutely.
So what would you recommend is the recipe for starting to solve this conundrum and this problem?
I think number one is reskilling people. Technology is there, technology will be there. Technology is never a challenge. Technology is always opportunity. But if you want the opportunity to be caught by anybody, it's the people. So first of all, train, invest. I normally call over-invest on people. The moment you over-invest on people, you over-invest on culture, over-invest on in terms of skills, the new skills, what you need to get in.
Interesting.
And at the same time, we work on a industry which is scale matters. So if I want to do a change, let's say if I want to adopt cloud, I can't do with 5, 10, 20, 30 people. I need to have at least 30 to 40% of my team, which is thousands of people, need to be trained so that they have ability to go and simplify, they have ability to go and disrupt. That's where I think
Interesting.
most
I think,
important.
I think I was going to talk about the whole talent issue at some point, but knowing you, I'm sure you've gone straight at the core of this issue, because ultimately it's about reinventing, reskilling, relearning,
Absolutely.
investing in the talent aspect. So maybe let's park that people aspect for a minute, because I really, I think that's, and you've always said it to me, I remember, that ultimately that's not $1 million, but $1 billion question.
Absolutely.
On how do you solve the talent conundrum.
Yeah.
But let's talk about what are the key technologies or what are the key practices that you would recommend the telco industry will need to continue to adopt to be able to modernize and to be able to be relevant, not just to the 90-year-old or you and me, but to the 2-year-old who is like a natural now, probably learns how to use a phone or a device, even before she is born.
Yeah.
How do you get prepared for that kind of a generation?
I think if you look at the capex intensity, what we do as an industry, right, 15, 20%, depending on the market, what you operate, right, and that itself will drive you to add more and more, right, and you spend less money in terms of, or less resources allocation in terms of cleaning up the legacy.
Yeah.
Every new technology, whatever we bring in, have the most simplistic architecture. For example, 5G. 5G SA is one of the most simple architecture. However, the moment you combine 5G SA with 5G NSA, right, and then with 4G, and then of course 2G,
Yeah.
then the complexity comes into picture,
Yes.
right? At the same time, we have to make the choices in terms of when do you want to do the last investment cycle on a legacy technology, right? That also depends in terms of how fast you want to move, how fast your customers are adopting. When today, maybe 10 years back, from a device perspective, customer perspective, it used to take a lot of time for devices to be penetrated in the market.
Yeah.
Today, any new technology is coming in, it takes 24 to 36 months to get a 30% of the devices are already, let's say, take 5G.
Yeah.
30% of the devices are already 5G, and they will consume 70% of your capacity.
That's true.
However, we still invest 50% of our revenues or capex into 4G.
Yeah.
So that's the line which we have to draw to move from the legacy technology investment into new technology. So that's one big decision which us as operators need to make. For example, we made a decision about 24 months back when we started up our 5G. We said we want to spend 80% of my capex on 5G,
Yeah.
but manage the 4G investments or manage the 4G quality for the customer.
Yeah.
And then the adoption, it has to be linked with the marketing. If you don't market the product of 5G, if you say I want to, of course, charge the premium, and you start putting a lot of barriers for entry,
Yeah.
that will lead into legacy investments.
Yes.
So that's the choices which we need to make.
Interesting. I mean, I think, so you're saying there is some mathematical formula there which you're saying is simplify is equal to complexity minus legacy.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Something like
Fully
that.
clear. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Great. So I think let's try and dive into the next phase then. And you used the word modernization a few times. We used the word transformations many times. What do you recommend is the role of platforms or the platformization, if I may, so that the next phase, because this problem that we face today of not being able to retire the old can become a chronic problem tomorrow.
Yeah.
What should we do as an industry and as ecosystem so that we build something today that compels us to not repeat some of the old mistakes again?
Yeah, I mean, a few things. One is, I normally say, you want to transform from the core.
Core.
Because we are we are a scaled business. We are not a niche business. So unless you transform the core, you can't scale the edges. Number one.
Yeah.
The second thing is, how do you want to adopt the technologies for the customer? And you have today, or maybe in the last decade, you have customer, you have a technology which you are delivering, or a service which you are delivering. But now you have in between the developer community which is coming up in a big way.
Yeah.
And you've seen in the hyperscaler world, you've seen in the internet world,
Yeah.
it's internet connectivity is needed, high quality connectivity is required, but the value is in the service what you deliver. And that is what telcos have to really start doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, today in the keynote, the theme of Barcelona in 2023 is platforms.
Yeah.
How do you expose the so-called network for application developers so that you start playing relevant into the market?
Yeah.
I mean, in the last, say, in 4G world, we've become a smart pipe. As simple as that. We've become a smart pipe from, let's say, 3G, which was a dumb pipe, the so-called dumb pipe, is become a smart pipe. But beyond the pipe, you have to be participating. And that's the 5G gives us opportunity for us to participate in the value chain.
Yeah.
Because if you want to deliver any service in 5G standalone, network, the service has to be aware of network, what is going through. In 4G, you don't care about network, I just need a bandwidth, that's fine.
Right.
But if you want to deliver applications, a connected car experience, the healthcare applications, right, a quality of service applications, you need to be aware of what kind of network are you delivering.
Brilliant.
So it means you are entering into value chain. The moment you enter into value chain, you will be able to take a pie of the revenue what is generated in the market.
Yeah. I think you just preempted my next point, which was monetization.
Yeah.
And you just alluded to that. Is this what you call, because I've often heard you saying network as a service?
Absolutely.
And is this where you also believe that AI has a role to play? And if yes, how do you think AI can continue to evolve in our industry?
Absolutely.
From a monetization standpoint?
Yeah. There are a few things. One is the service and the scale. When you have a scale, you need to automate. And that's where AI plays into for all of us.
Yeah.
When we do generate a humongous amount of data, because every transaction for the customers is millions of transactions in the network.
Yeah.
Right? It means that there is a pattern, there is a kind of whether it is predictive from a service perspective, or whether it is predictive on what kind of service you want to deliver, what kind of experience the customer wants at home, what kind of experience you want at office. So you can always predict. So AI will play a significant role in simplifying our operations, simplifying the creation of the new services for the customer. And that's where the network as a service, network as a platform comes into picture.
And the consumption of the network will increase,
Absolutely.
both in the consumer and the enterprise realm.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Great. Great. Let's try and address the industry at large, the companies that serve you, not just us, but many other companies, wherever they come from, whether they come from the devices world or the platform world, software world, hardware world, network world, what have you. What would be your recommendations to all of us? Yeah. What are your guiding principles on 2 or 3 things that we should do if we want to partner with a leader like you and Telefonica?
I think for us, I mean, for me personally, it's just one thing, right? How does the partners are able to connect the dots? Because normally you have, what is a partnership? Or I mean, there has to be a contract, there's a commercial relationship with a supplier and people like us as a customer. But however, the need of the hour is you grow beyond your own contract or a domain. If you can look at multiple domains and help us in connecting the dots, that's the single most important thing what I would always look for when I'm working with companies.
So
Right.
go beyond the BAU, business as usual, or the hygiene.
Exactly.
And co-innovate
Exactly.
with you.
Exactly.
Great.
And that's something which I normally push people, or I normally demand from my team, because you have multiple operators, multiple countries, right? We do come with, let's say, 3 or 4 geographies, but you are available when any technology partner whether it is network or IIT, everybody is working in multiple countries. Why are you not bringing us the experience and then try to connect the dots for us so that we are enabling ourselves to go and deliver services for the customer?
Guys,
That's it.
I hope it's food for thought for all of you. They often say that a way to a man's heart is through the stomach. In your case, I think it is clearly through connecting the dots.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
No, fantastic. So let me ask you this big, massive questions. And I often say this, that the pandemic may have started this, but the talent war is now endemic. It may be slowing down because as the economic pressures are there, but yet for high-end skills, for something that are truly needed to change your world, our world, and the industry, those skills are not easy to build hereafter. What are you looking to do? What would you recommend people to do so that we could continue to invest and build? And you alluded to that earlier in the session, but I didn't want to discuss it then because I think this is maybe the most important part of this conversation from a talent, from people, from investment, from skills standpoint.
I think, for me, the few changes which are happening, right? I mean, acquiring talent is definitely a huge challenge, right? At the same time, retaining the talent is also a much bigger challenge. If you look at maybe last decades, people do look at leaders to provide solutions.
Yeah.
That everybody looks upon and say, okay, fine, leader is providing a strategy, the manager is providing something. I think we have to move away from that kind of approach into the role of a leader is basically how do I enable and make them successful, make my team successful, not that you are successful.
Yeah.
And that's the demand, the change of leadership which is happening.
Yeah.
And people come for not just companies, but they come for culture.
Yeah.
And that's where I am super committed in terms of providing a culture or building a culture, because culture again cannot be built by one person. No. It has to be collective effort. That's the focus which I normally put in, or I normally say overinvest.
Excellent. I mean, culture of learning, culture of investing in oneself.
Yeah.
And then
continuous adaptation, right? Because it's not constant. The talent need, or when if I look at the 5G world, or if I look at standalone, there are so many things which are changing.
Yeah.
And you can't keep on the pace. And that's where the co-creation mentality comes into picture. So the adopting, the culture of adoption, culture of learning, right? Culture of co-creation. This is the most important thing for me.
Super, brilliant. Mallik, I can't thank you enough ever for your very straight-shootedness as always, for your simple thoughts, for your, the kind of guiding principles that you often give. I think it means a lot to all of us. I thank you so much.
Thank you, Manish.
So as you noticed, Mallik, is widely regarded in the industry as not just an opinion maker, but the voice of reasoning in the industry. And you saw why. It's because very quickly, in a few words, he's always able to connect the dots, something which I'm going to take away from today's conversation as the big takeaway, which is connect the dots. He's able to connect the dots between the talent, and I'm going reverse, talent to the investment in skills, to the culture aspect, to modernization, to retiring, to also know when to stop things, to eventually try and simplify. I think it's a brilliant learning the last 25 odd minutes. I've enjoyed doing it. I hope you enjoyed this episode as well. Thank you so much.